I have this intense desire today to both feel pain and inflict it. And I'm pretty confident I know why I feel that way. However, I'm not willing to discuss or rant about why that is, because that's not what I want this place to be or become. This, for me, is not a place to come and moan or critique or vent about anything that is happening in my outer world. This is a place for me to come and explore my inner world, my mind, and hopefully give you the permission to do the same and demonstrate how much more we can get done when we look inwards rather than outwards. Because our mind is the only thing that we will ever have true control of, true domain over. It's the only thing that will ever be truly ours and nobody else's if we make it so. And this feeling that I'm feeling today, truthfully, I don't really have a word for it. However, right now, all I want to do is fight. Now, whether that's because, as I've alluded to before on this channel, fighting was first and foremost my first experience of physical discipline, mental discipline. It was my first contact with creative expression. And it was what taught me how to tame the beast inside and how to have him under control, as you would a dog, and be able to use him only when he's needed and never allow him to control you. Being able to call upon him whenever you desired. And not allowing him to take over when the going gets tough. And funnily enough, I actually recorded an audio prior to recording this one. However, I just wasn't happy with it. I didn't like it. I'm going to be keeping it for myself to look back on, listen back on. However, I came to the realization that pain, times like this, whatever it is that I'm experiencing in my life right now, because I can't even figure it out, to be completely honest. Like, I'm in a good place. That's what's so weird about it. Yet, there's something missing. And the harsh truth is now, I've been excusing myself and creating excuses for avoiding the discomfort that is fighting. And I finally realized on this drive home that it is a consistent thing with me whenever I neglect the arts, the martial arts, whatever you want to call it, whenever I neglect a good old scrap, it finds a way to drag me down eventually. It finds a way to weigh a heavy burden on my soul. And why that is, I don't yet know. Why that is, yeah, I really wish I had the answer to. Well, I don't wish, no. One day I will have the answer to. However, today, it's just not quite there, and I can't quite figure out why. Because right now, I'm quite frustrated at myself, Tuesday being one of the days that I could go to a gym and get somewhat of a fix, so to speak, I didn't prioritize it. I didn't pay it enough attention. I wasn't wise enough to realize that was what I was craving and what I've been missing for a little while now, until it was too late, until the classes had started and I simply could not get there in time. And that in and of itself is extremely frustrating, I must admit. It's extremely frustrating. If only I'd realized what it was that was making me somewhat angry yesterday. Because yesterday, if you listen to yesterday's video, in many ways I took it out on you guys, and I apologize for that. For that, I'm truly sorry. I couldn't figure out what was going on in my head, and believed it was time to conserve some energy and conserve that energy and give it to the people that are dearest to me, which I did. And I had great conversations, explored great thoughts with the people closest to me yesterday. So there was value in that. However, if I had realized yesterday, it's all if, buts, and maybes, and all we have is the moment. However, I'm somewhat frustrated at myself for not realizing yesterday that pain is what I am desiring right now. I want to inflict it. I won't sit here and lie. I want to inflict pain. And I want to feel it. I really do. And that's the beauty of fighting. You get to do both in a fairly safe and controlled environment. And I feel like it's one of those things where once it becomes a part of you in the way that it became a part of me in my late teens, you'll never be able to run from it no matter how hard you try. You'll never be able to shake it. It will always haunt you when you neglect it. And I feel like a big part of that is I don't even want to say discomfort, and I went to say discomfort because of the amount of times I've already said pain. But I believe a big part of that is the pain that you experience. There is no pain like feeling like your lungs are going to explode with 100-kilo man trying to choke you out or break your arm or tear your ACL or do God knows what. There is no pain like that. I've never experienced a pain like that. I've torn hamstrings. I've torn lats. I'll pull the lat as a bit of an exaggeration. But there is no pain like feeling like your lungs are going to explode at the same time as your elbow or your your entire body. And there is no, in a weird way, there is no more humbling experience than inflicting that pain on somebody else. Because it allows you to get very well acquainted with the demon within, with the dangerous side of yourself that the wise man always has under control. You get to go and sit with him and talk to him on a regular basis, and that is not something that most humans experience, most men experience. And now this isn't everybody's experience in the fight game. However, I feel like those of us that are very thoughtful and very aware of our experience in it have a similar perspective on it. And it makes me very determined to create an environment for myself where I can have access to it whenever I want. Now, whether you love or hate them, I really couldn't care less. However, that's one thing I admire about the Tate brothers. If you live with a man that happens to be your brother, whether by blood or by kinship, then you can go home to and say, bro, I need a scrap. And he'll look at you and say, all right, let's go. That must be one of the most beautiful, blissful experiences as a man. I would not be suffering right now if I had access to that. If I could pull up, park up, and be like, yo, bro, I don't care how you're feeling right now, I need a scrap. Knowing that man, you are so close to that man that even if he's not on it, you're like, bro, I really don't care. I'm going to fight you regardless. So if you don't fight back, you're getting thumped up. That must be amazing. Because even on the days where the other person doesn't want that, he's going to be better for that. After the fact, he's going to appreciate it. And you're both going to sit there in your heightened state of peace, grateful for what you just endured, both the pain and the pain you inflicted. Just thinking about it is giving me goosebumps. I'll be so real. Just thinking about a fight right now is giving me goosebumps. I'm not even gonna lie. And I don't think I've ever actually felt this intensely about it, to be completely honest. The last time I felt like this, it was quite easy. I was like, oh yeah, I'm missing fighting. Right, let's go back. Boom. Simple. But today, oh God, I do. Today, I don't want peace. I want violence. I want violence. And that is not a healthy place to be as a man. I'll be completely real. I don't want to be here. I don't want to feel that. I don't want this to be a thought of mine, because the harsh reality is, as tame as society is today, violence isn't very difficult to find if you go out and seek it. And I can imagine this feeling, if intensified and if not thought about, is what probably leads to people going out, especially young men, going out and doing some stupid shit. Because we want to feel that rush. We want to inflict some pain. We want to feel some pain. Nothing beats taking a shot. Nothing beats getting kicked in the head. Nothing beats that feeling of wanting to just give it back. And that's something that we as men, or as human males, I feel like it's hardwired into us. Some of us have spent a whole lifetime suppressing it, but are now completely numb to it. Some of us were blessed to be introduced to it in a controlled environment from a young age. Some of us were blessed to be introduced to it in a controlled environment from adulthood. Either way, we all desire it in some capacity. And unfortunately for me, never say never, but I am yet to truly experience that from the gym. And I've heard many people say to me, yeah, you get a similar experience from the gym. Nah. I don't buy it. I've trained every day now for, 189 days, I think this is. And I've had one day where I felt like, oh, yeah. I felt like I was fighting the bar today. But even then, that didn't last long. And it wasn't the same. What was that bar going to do to me? The bar ain't going to do shit. No disrespect. All right, cool. If you load a stupid amount of weight on it, like, it might snap your back, but then you're just a fucking idiot for doing that, to be quite frank. But fighting that man who's 20 kilos heavier than you, training your sport, practicing your art, and thinking street, that will put you in a very different headspace. That will give you a very different experience. Put you in a position where you're either going to be the one in pain or the one inflicting pain. It's very primal. but we are animals at the end of the day. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with feeling that way. In my opinion, there's everything wrong with suppressing it. Suppressing the thoughts and feelings of wanting to endure pain and inflict it is what I personally believe leads to outbursts and leads to uncalculated moments of idiocy that ends in pain, because that's the beauty of fighting in controlled environments. The pain is in the moment. You either inflict it or you receive it in the moment. After the fact, there is no pain. There is only peace. And that is what separates fighting from violence. Violence leaves somebody, in some cases both people, whether it be mentally and physically in pain. And I don't need violence in my life. Violence is too much of a risk. But I need a fight. I need to feel pain. And I need to inflict pain.